What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan. And I'm here today to talk to you about the 30-10 loss to the Montreal Alouettes. Normally, this jersey is up there. Big reason why I normally don't wear this. I used to wear this jersey to games. This is like the first Red Blacks jersey that I owned. But as I'm sure you can see, it's not like a jersey, not like the replica jerseys, which I'm very fond of. It's a Sens. What's a Sens jersey with Sens up doing there? Well, you'll see soon enough. I had a wonderful discussion with friend of the channel, Dan, from Sports Docs, and I was going to take it down, and then I thought, why bother? Team didn't show up, why should I? They don't care, why should I? Why bother? Huh? Look, I know that we're keeping hope alive for Montreal of clinching for... Montreal's not going to finish first in the East because there's not a chance. There's not a chance that we're beating Hamilton. None. Zero. We're a 4-win team this year. I don't need to see the final 2 games to know we're a 4-win team this year. We have gone 3 consecutive games with less than 20 points. How does a football team score 10 only? 10! Up and down the road. Our defense was okay. Not completely atrocious because a lot of the points were on mistakes from the offense and special. The defense for the Red Blacks is a defense that won't necessarily win you the game, but they won't lose you the game. The Ottawa Red Blacks defense on a mildly competent team would be just fine. Like if you take our defense and put it on the Rough Riders, for example. If we were to switch defenses, the Riders would maybe have a few less wins, but I think our records would be relatively the same as what they are right now. Because when your offense is allergic to scoring, when your special teams is so consistently failing you, this is the result you get. Lewis Ward, my favorite player, is getting trotted out for moonshot after moonshot in already lost games, doing nothing but just rattling his confidence, I'm sure, making him take these long attempts, which he hasn't been super great at this season. Like, we have to say it. His long attempts haven't been amazing this season. This season has definitely been a low point in his career. And you're trotting him out for these moonshots down by a bunch. Like, what are we even doing here? A blocked punt return for a touchdown. A kickoff to start the second half that bounces off of our player that Montreal recovers. Our defense might not win us games. Our offense and our special teams loses us games. 5 turnovers. What do you say to that? What do you say to an offense that turns the ball over 5 times? And this is what I mean where our defense doesn't win us the game. Because our defense didn't get turnovers. So I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Like, 30 points is still 30 points. But I am somebody that has to say, but, when you look at it, when you look at the amount of points that you cannot blame the defense on. Because, like, the punt return for a touchdown, like, that's not on. The defense didn't touch the ball. The defense wasn't there. It's not their fault that the punt got returned for a touchdown. Or any of the other poor plays that gets, the offense into effective, immediate, field goal range. And the defense actually ends up getting a stop, by preventing a touchdown. But it doesn't matter. Like, they're in instant field goal range. And one of our players decides, oh, okay, look, was it holding on to Bush? Sure, it was holding. It looked like it. I mean, the game was already pretty lost. Why you punch? Why? This team that has such a lack of discipline, that is so consistently giving up back-breaking penalties that are taking away all season, taking away big plays. Do you know how many more touchdowns Pimpleton has if we don't take boneheaded penalties? Second down stands that turn into first downs for our opponents. Special teams punts that put them at best, in a long field goal attempt, and instead you punch a player on another team to give them chip shot range. And the defense prevents the touchdown. The defense does do their job and gets the stop, but it doesn't matter. And just on those two plays alone, both of which are on special teams punts, just on those two plays alone, that is 10 points that you cannot blame the defense for. So ignoring all the other turnovers, ignoring all the other, disgustingness, 20 points that you can say the defense is responsible for. And again, I could get nitpicky about it, but let's be generous to the offense, to special teams. What offense? One touchdown and one field goal? How a team goes from 18 points, which is not a lot, which is not very good, to 13 points to 10? 10? You know the Jim Mora, the very infamous playoffs? I'm just hoping we can win a game. I got one better for you. Win a game? I'm just hoping we can get a score. Forget winning a game. I would just like 20 points. I don't care if Montreal blows us out 41-20. If it's 41-20, I'll be like, 20 points. Let's go. We did it. As for Drew Brown, he's injured, but I'm worried. First off, he's been injured a lot this season, and injuries, especially to our quarterbacks, has torpedoed so many seasons. Look at Montreal. Alexander, who's been injured, 10-0 when he starts. And again, Montreal, they were on their third or fourth stringer. They're a playoff team. We've never gone beyond Dustin Crum. Today was not a good game for Crum. I'm not going to lie. It was a pretty bad game. And I do not know why we have not, at any point in this season, looked Tyree Adams' way. And I've heard, we don't see what goes on in practice. I don't care. Do the coaches see what goes on during the game? 4 wins, 12 losses, and you mean to tell me that they know what they're doing when they've got a good, young, talented player just holding a clipboard all season, loss after loss after loss piling up? You play a game where you turn the ball over 5 times and you only score 10 points and you don't even think to maybe try someone different? Are you kidding me? Does this organization even care anymore? I like Dustin Crum. I do. I think he's improved immensely this season. I actually am slightly worried there's a quarterback controversy. When I say that, is Drew Brown the better quarterback? Yes. But it's more of Drew Brown isn't always healthy. Dustin Crum basically never gets injured. Dustin Crum won't win you the game, won't lose you the game kind of thing. Maybe under better circumstances, that would be okay. I think Drew Brown is a lot better at getting the ball away, but Dustin Crum can run, and is not afraid to run with the ball. He can scramble. If the pocket is closing and there's still no options, Drew Brown typically won't lose you a bunch of yards, but he won't make a nothing into something play. Best case scenario is it's 1st and 10, pocket collapses, he has no options, throws it away, 2nd and 10. With Dustin Crum, the pocket's collapsing, he has no options. One of two things are going to happen. He is going to get you a first down or close to it, or he's going to lose you 10 yards. That's kind of the two situations. He's either going to scramble, run, and get you 6 to like 16 yards on the scramble, or he's going to get sacked for a billion yards. Like, we had a third, and I think it was 2 at their 30, and we went for it. I like it. We were in a situation where we needed to go for it to make it a game. And I was actually thinking, oh, here we go. Like, this is going to be the classic Ottawa Redblacks, score a late touchdown or two, make the score look better than it actually was. There's one good thing about this final score. It represents the game. It was a butt kicking, start to finish. 30-10 is a very appropriate score. 20-13 on paper, that doesn't look bad. You only lost by a touchdown. It was a lot worse. A lot worse. A lot of those losses by one score, when you actually sit down and watch the game, you realize that we were not in it, and we were down by a billion early on. And oh yeah, we had a good strong second half, but at the same time, our opponents didn't need to do much. Honestly, they needed to burn clock more than anything else. When your opponents take such a massive lead, they're no longer worried about you coming back. They're worried about getting the game over with. Yeah, if you scored 10 points, but they're up 17, and it takes you 30 minutes to score said 10 points, they're fine. They don't mind. But 3rd and 2, at like the Montreal 30, somehow he's sacked at midfield. Just throw the ball. A pick would actually be preferable. Because at least if you throw the ball and it gets picked off what, at the Montreal 40? Okay. Better than going back and lose. But here's the thing. Who cares? Who cares? What does it matter? And I was sitting there holding the clipboard and not even getting looked at. I've said it before, I'll say it again. And look, it's not a question of do I think Bob Dice should be fired? Do I think Tommy Condell should be fired? That is a foregone conclusion. They're gone. Like, let's be perfectly clear. They won't be a part of the organization come next June. They are gone. If this organization is actually somehow ludicrously out of their mind enough to not get rid of them, they will be lucky if a single fan shows up to any of their games. But let's be honest. They know the situation. They know what Bob Dice's coaching record is. They know what the fan outcry is. You think they don't? You think they're unaware? And while I see a lot of they just want to build condos, look, I gotta remind y'all of something. They did win us a Grey Cup. They did have a good run. So does this organization care about winning? When it wants to, yeah. And I think that they might have been, and this is complete speculation on my part, but I think they might have been scared off by Bob Dice. Paul LaPolice, terrible record. Red Blacks going nowhere fast. Another lost season. So what do? Partway through the season, but after the season is lost, they fire Paul LaPolice. They put in an interim head coach in Bob Dice. Doesn't do great, doesn't do terrible. Like, does better than you would expect for how bad the season has gone, but he was still like 1-3. Small sample size, but players seem to like him. Did win us a game. He won 1 out of 4 games. Before that, we had 12 games played and 3 wins? We were doing terribly. It was an awful team, and he in his first game as a head coach, he found a way to win. You know what? Maybe that's something we can work with. Maybe there is something there. Maybe we should all just calm down and see where this goes. And you make him head coach. Not interim, but full-blown head coach. And so, yes, you do a proper head search for a head coach, but the guy who kind of already has the job sort of got to keep it. So I think they are scared that if they, like, because that's the thing. What if they fire Bob Dice and we win our last 2 games? I mean, shouldn't that account for something for the, I mean, Montreal does have something to play for. If they win out and Hamilton loses to us, Hamilton's not going to lose to us, but let's entertain the hopes and dreams of Montreal fans. If that happens, they get a bye. They are automatically in the East Final, home field advantage. That's huge. That gets you automatically 1 step closer to the Grey Cup, and the only playoff game before the Grey Cup that you have to play, you get to play in your own barn. That is such a massive advantage in this league. So if Hamilton somehow manages to lose to us, that is a massive win for Montreal. Montreal today showed they have something to play for. They're going to show it again. Saturday, they're going to show that they have something to play for. Frankly, so does this team. Pride. And for a lot of them, jobs. Because Khalil Pimpleton is the only one who I think I could say without a shadow of a doubt, like, he is a lock. Everybody else this season hasn't been fully what we wanted. Standback, I think, had his best game of the season after we're eliminated. He's the only one that got us the touchdown, barely, after review. But there's a lot of players, like, look, there's a lot of players that I think will come back. I love Justin Hardy. Was this the most amazing season for Justin Hardy? No, but, like, look at his past season. Look at how good of a player he is. Look at how good of a player he can be. Under a real head coach, Justin Hardy is borderline MOP worthy. I do believe that. I think Drew Brown, under a better system, under not Tommy Condell, could be really, really, really good. I do think that there's a potential top 3 quarterback in the league in him. I look at a lot of the players on this team. Geno Lewis, William Standback. We know that William Standback can be one of the best running backs in the league. I get it, our O-line's shredded. But also, and again, that's part of it. When you are so consistently injured, something about training and conditioning is off. And somebody in training and conditioning isn't doing their job right. And when other teams are getting injured, they're still finding ways to win games. Why aren't you? So that excuse doesn't work. But Khalil Pimpleton is the only one who I can say without a shadow of a doubt, like, he is coming back next season. And there's no one you trade him for. You've got to keep. Everybody else, I'm listening to offers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm listening to offers if it's good enough. There are some players where I'm like, yeah, no, it's worth trading them. Khalil Pimpleton is, I think, the only truly untouchable on this team. Everybody else, I hate to say, I think they're touchable. A lot of them, Hardy, Brown, Geno Lewis, William Sam, I think those are high price tags. Like, it needs to be worth our while. But there are price tags. And I think that you want to remove that. I think you want to prove that, hey, no, I'm an untouchable. I belong as the guy. When you walk in a TD Place and you see the banners of players, I belong there. I should be an iconic part of this team. So we have something to play for. Pride. Jobs. And I do think that this organization wants a proper head coach search. Let this season die. Let it finish. Got 2 games. Just get through them. Just barely get through them. And then once the season's done and over, and I mean, like, end of the game against Hamilton, we shake hands, and then I should get that TSN notification. Bob Dice let go. That's probably what's going to happen. I know the players like him. That approach hasn't worked. It just hasn't. It has not worked. We had one semi-decent season. And here's the thing. I do understand that the bar is high this season in terms of like to make the playoffs. Theoretically, 900 or 500 might not be enough. Like there is a universe where Edmonton goes 9-9 and misses the playoffs. But a big reason for that is that we are so bad that every team is just taking our lunch money. Every team's just beating the crap out of us. So of course they're all 9-9. Because they face the Ottawa Redblacks at least twice. Those are 2 free wins. Just punch it on your bingo card. Oh, play Ottawa, I'm gonna win. I'm rooting for Edmonton to make the playoffs. You know, we ended the drought. It didn't last long, but hey, it was nice while it lasted. I hope Edmonton gets that sense of elation of finally breaking that curse, getting over that hump. You know, come to us, Winnipeg. Do it. You've been successful for too long. It would be very funny if the 2 teams that made the Grey Cup last year both missed the playoffs. That'd be, at this point, I'm cheering for hilarity. I think we need a proper coach search. I think that's what we're going to do. And I said it in the past. Why would a casual fan go? Why would a casual fan care? I don't think they would. I don't think they will. And I also think that, again, like, why don't you make Rick Campbell part of it? I will say, look, the special teams has been terrible. And I'm not 100% convinced that Rick Campbell's coming back next season. And that's where, again, I worry. Like, you make him head coach, and he's very beloved, and then you don't hire him full-time. Like, you get what I mean? You fire Bob Dice now, and you make Rick Campbell the head coach, who, let's be completely candid with ourselves, was not a good special teams coordinator. And you make him head coach. And if he does well, how do you justify not hiring him? Because he's so beloved. Former head coach. And you just gave him his job back and now you're going to take it away? What, because he was bad as a special teams coordinator? Or you bring him back, you say, hey, welcome back, Coach Campbell. The team is yours again. He loses the last 2 games of the season. And then you say, never mind. Bad look either way, so I do get it. Let Dice finish the season. Then it's time for a new era. There needs to be some massive changes. And here's the good news in the CFL. You can turn it around quickly. Look at how bad Calgary was last year. Now they're they're probably going to make the playoffs. I think that there's a good chance that they could even go on a run. I don't think it's impossible that they beat Saskatchewan. And from where they were last year to where they are now, that is a huge leap. Hamilton, similarly, right? Missed the playoffs. Now they are almost certainly going to be finishing first in the East. There is a chance that all 3 teams that missed the playoffs last year will be a playoff team this year. Yes, it's pretty tough for Edmonton, but not impossible. Not impossible. And if Montreal beats us, very likely, they have everything to play for against Winnipeg. So Winnipeg doesn't exactly have an easy road. I'm just saying Edmonton could do it. And if they do it, that's the kind of mentality you need to take in if you're part of the Red Blacks management. You need to say, hey, look, one season turn. Like, we stunk for a long time. We finally limped into the playoffs. And then we went right back to stinking. Like, that's it. That's done. We need a turnaround and we need it now. We need a head coach, a real head coach. Somebody who's going to come here and turn things around. We need a real offensive coordinator. We need a team that is not going to get shredded by injury with real training and conditioning. We need to find ways to win those gritty games. We need to be smart, stay in it. We cannot be going into every single half down by 7, 11, 10, 17. Like, we need to be better through 60, and we can. And you can turn it around in one season. You can go from Grey Cup champs to out of the playoffs like that. You can go from bottom of the league to fighting for the Grey Cup like that in the CFL. 5-year rebuilds shouldn't be the norm. And they don't have to be in Ottawa. And I think we need to fully embrace a 1-year turnaround. You've got to. You've got to be taking calls for what's available. You've got to find a way. Like, next season is very make it or break it for me. Because if you just go right back to being dog water, if you go right back to 4-3, 4-5, 3-4 win seasons, come on, man. Who's going to be showing up? Anybody? But if this is the last note in the symphony of misery, you can get back to where we were before. Not just competitive, but passionate. Selling out every game. Like, it can be done. The healing process needs to start. It'd be nice if we could get one more win in. Unlikely. Like I said, I just want to see 20 points. I cannot wait for the Charge season. That's it. I've got a lot of thoughts. I'm probably going to have to cut up it in like 3 videos with all my thoughts for the upcoming PWHL season. I've honestly been putting it off because I have so many thoughts. You know, November, I'm going to be nice and open. It doesn't start until the 22nd. I'm probably going to have to make like 3 videos about the Charge. And I'm in hockey mode now. I am. Because there's no reason to stay in football mode. And as always, go Ottawa, go.